All right, you guys, in Philadelphia Union head coach Jim Curtin. Jim will give an opening statement, then we'll open the floor to questions. Jim, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, just to reflect back on the Colorado performance. Not our best first half. We weren't happy with it at halftime when we spoke. Talked about getting back to playing the way that we like to have pressure on the ball. I thought that improved in the second half, and that led to more chances. We talked about getting the ball in the wide areas just because Colorado had put so many bodies centrally. They were very organized and tough to break down. We talked about getting Gaddis and went all of them forward to create 2v1s in wide areas, getting to the end line, not necessarily to cross the ball, but to penetrate them and maybe swing it around the top of the box. Some seams started to open up. Once we got the penalty, we started to create some chances and did a good job of killing off the game, I thought, after we got the lead. So kind of a gritty performance, a good streak that we're on now. Some positives to take into Salt Lake, which is a tricky game at altitude, a tough place to play. A team with a new coach that has players fighting for them, so it'll be a challenge. They have a very good attacking group, some experience, some guys that have been through the battle. So no easy games in our league. It'll be a very tough task to go on the road to Salt Lake. But happy overall with the performance of the group and the confidence that everybody has now.
Questions for Jim on the floor? Over.
Jim, are you, what's your travel? Are you going out there early and to get used to the altitude?
Yeah, so we'll leave tomorrow. We'll head out. We'll have training, then we'll head out a little later flight. We do have a direct flight. We get in around 8 or 9 o'clock. Guys have a meal once we get out there to start the acclimation process early. There's two ways of thinking. You can go out, the science, to go out early is one way. The other is to go in at the last second, which is without the help of charter flights in our league, it's a risky one. You can have issues and layovers, and things could not go smoothly, especially in a city like Salt Lake, where we've now just found out our flight back is canceled. So we have a stop in Detroit on the way back. So that's an example of why we elected to go out early. Until there's charter flights and we're getting on and it's in and out easy, that would be a difference maker. But we'll have training tomorrow, head out, get ourselves used to the altitude. We'll train there one day, and obviously we'll go with 19 guys and pick the group to give us the best opportunity to get 3 points.
Rome doesn't look like
It's going to be close. It's taken a little longer than I had hoped. He had the injection. He's responded well to it. Still hasn't joined us in training yet. He's just been off to the side. So unless there's a quick turnaround and he's able to go tomorrow, he probably won't be. We do have the 19 guys that are coming, so it could be in the discussion to bring them. But it's going to be close.
What was the injection specifically for?
Quad strain.
Quad strain.
Yeah.
And it was just he was still feeling discomfort from it.
Yeah, so he tried to come back. I believe it was last week, sometime early in the week, and he jumped in training and thought it was 100% ready to go, and knew as soon as he pushed off that something wasn't right. So he was out immediately when we were doing some things with the reserves, not the starters. So going to wait till it's 100% before we get him back in things. Otherwise, it's just going to be something where he's re-aggravating it over and over again. It could be something serious.
How encouraged are you that Josh is no contact?
Yeah, it's been great to watch him in training now. Again, he doesn't really have a half speed. He goes full speed all the time. Whether he's going into tackle, so sometimes you're cringing a little bit as he goes into a tackle or uses his shoulder to push off of somebody. But he feels great. It's been important now to get him. Today he went through two solid 15-minute periods, so 30 minutes of at a high intensity against a Steel team that was set up to play similar to Salt Lake, and he held up very well. Did a good job. Obviously, won his individual 1v1 battles, but also wasn't breathing as heavy afterwards. All that's coming along, and really happy with where he's at. He obviously adds a lot to the group and is a really good piece to be getting back now.
Possibility that time?
Not this week, no. The start of June will be the first time, whether that's, hopefully we can get him some time in Bethlehem, but it'll all depend on where we're at. Injuries, call-ups, all different things that are going to be coming up here as we look towards New York City FC. you know, in that timeline, right around the beginning of June would be the window where you'll see him, whether it's with Bethlehem, whether it's with the first team, back in action.
Jim, for you guys, what has changed defensively in terms of, is it something in your guys' approach? Is it more than just the personnel? What's changed?
Yeah, I mean, you could talk to a couple of little things that we've done on the field, but I think first and foremost it has to start with the culture of the club that Ernie's instilled, that we're not going to get too high or get too low. We're going to stick with what we believe in, and we were playing some good soccer early in the year. You know, I think what's happening now is we're really taking our chances. If you look at the conversion rate in front of goal, everything is going in. That we're very, you know, accurate with our shooting right now. Everything's hitting the target. The conversion rate in the danger areas has been very high and much better than previous games in the early stages of the season. You know, defensively, we've tweaked some different things, whether it's, you know, always having either Harris or Ali in front of the back four, not getting stretched out. They're really doing a great job of sliding together. I think that the pressure to the ball is the key. That's what makes us go. So Fafa brings an ability. Everyone talks about him being able to get in behind offensively, but the way he closes the ball down makes the outside back rush or hurry or get forced into an error, or he gets a piece of a pass, and that kind of causes turnovers and creates a little bit of havoc. So his push to close the ball is really good. I think CJ's done great getting pressure, more pressure to the ball. We've also been able to get pressure to the other team center backs through our number 9 and our number 10 rather than our wingers. When our wingers are the ones pressing the center backs, that's when we're having problems early in the year. And without pressure to the ball, your team gets stretched. And we can't play in games where we're stretched. If you even think of the Colorado goal that broke the streak, think of how stretched we were on that one. CJ's literally pressing Timmy Howard, and Gooch and Elliott are all the way back, way past midfield on the other side, and wind up, you know, almost inside our own 18. So it's too much ground to cover. We got punished for it, and that's something we need to avoid because we're not built to play that way. It has to be 35 yards from CJ to Gooch, and we all have to move as one unit, defensively for sure, but also offensively. We all have to move forward and backwards together, and we like that 35 yard as the guideline from front to back, and that's something we've done well. It also comes down to you know, winning second balls, the little battles and duels that go on. We've come out on the better end of in recent weeks. There's an area of the field we've targeted to call it the red zone, where it's, you know, the outline of the 6 yard box extended to the top of the D. If you made a square in that area, you know, 80% of goals now are coming from there in our league, and we've done a better job protecting that area and keeping people out of it. So a lot of little factors. It's not one thing, but really it's to the players, and they've been really executing offensively in front of goal and making those key blocks defensively to preserve and keep clean sheets. We're not giving up a lot of goals now, and that's where it starts.
Last year, you mentioned when you guys had that really good defensive start, and towards the end of last year, you mentioned sometimes guys were trying to do too much in terms of defensive actions and not ending plays. It seems like you guys are doing that maybe more now. Is that fair to say? And does that come with maybe a little bit of, humility is the right word, but when you guys struggle in a losing streak, that you get back to those kind of basics?
For sure, I would say that's fair. You know, when you're not getting results, the tendency of players is to try to do more for the team and maybe run and try and put out a fire. But really, sometimes when you try to do more, it leads to compounding the issue. That works offensively and that works defensively. You know, even when we went down a goal to Colorado, I think everybody started to play a little bit like individuals and try to make the final pass every time we got on the ball. And then we're not good when we're like that. We have to be a team that is just doing the simple things, getting it, passing it to the next guy. Things will eventually open up and we'll break teams down. Defensively, it's the same thing. You know, when it's not going well and you're drawing games that you think you should have won and you're losing games that you should have drew, the tendency is to try to do more and help the squad, which is natural. It's human nature. But getting the guys to understand that that's not when we're at our best. We're at our best when everyone is just doing their job. Just do your job is kind of the message. And from there, better things start to happen. You're playing the percentage game in a lot of ways. And the other defensive thing that comes up in that is we've done a good job, again, as simple as it sounds, of really taking away the other team's best player. So whether it was Jermaine Jones, whether it was then Sasha Kleshchin, Acosta, Alex, Kevin Doyle had a decent game, but I think we limited him a bit. It was supposed to be, again, you get lucky sometimes too. Gosh, he wasn't on the field, so we dodged a bullet. So a lot of variables go into it, but playing the percentages of really making their best player play sideways and backwards and not letting him be the one to beat us. We've been good at that over the last 5-6 games.
Jim, for a guy who just turned 35, Gooch is getting a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that he's been able to kind of shoulder that load, especially what you had to do last year?
Yeah, I'd say surprises. He's been called upon a lot more early on in the year than we probably anticipated. Maybe he's not surprised by it, but he's played a lot of minutes and he's played very well in those minutes. To do the quick turnaround to go Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, and only concede 1 goal was impressive. I think that he's done a great job for us as a leader back there. He's such a presence that even when guys get at him 1v1, they have a long way to get around him. So he always is able to get a piece of their body and delay things enough for someone to help and recover. So he's been great. The communication with Jack and him has been excellent, and his ability to pass out of the back and start attacks has been really good too. Hitting the diagonal balls that give guys time and space. He's been really solid for us. Really happy for him. Age-wise, he is up there in years, but he seems to have fresh legs. He's had a long layoff before this year, so maybe in some way that saved his legs a little bit. There's not as much wear and tear in the recent years on him, so he feels fresh right now. Initially, he was supposed to be out of training today. He came in this morning and said, "I want to be in." So again, he's going well. Feeling confident, and he's playing at a very high level of center back, and so is our whole back line. They're all doing a really good job of helping each other out and keeping clean sheets.
Why was he split?
Just again, he had a little soreness and inflammation in his back. He had it taken care of. Initially, early in the week, we're going to give him till Thursday to get back and recovered. And he came in this morning, said he felt really good. So he's in a good spot right now. Knows his body very well. He seems fresh. It's good.
Jim, you guys are 4 wins, 4 draws, 4 losses now, so technically back to 500.
Yeah.
I guess. Does the mentality change now that you've sort of resurfaced and pulled back to that level, or is that catalyst of sort of trying to fight out of the slump and sticking together? Has that been altered at all?
It's tough. The biggest thing that we've tried to stress is that how hard we had to work to get out of the hole, and the feeling that we had when we were in that hole. We don't want that back ever again. That's kind of the thing that we're guarding against now. And yes, the good run of games helps that. The performances have been really good. I don't want them to lose sight that there were still some decent performances sprinkled in the tough times early on when we didn't win in those first 8 games. So you're guarding against that ever coming back and creeping back in, and if it does, kicking it down. I think we've done a good job of that. Colorado could have been dangerous. That first goal goes in, and then the guys could have been like, uh-oh, here we go again. We're not going to be able to get out of this thing. But they stuck with it. They worked really hard in the second half, and that grows confidence. These next 2 games we've looked at now before the international break are critical, because we're going to get a tough test in Salt Lake. It's really, really important to go there with confidence and try to take points, because it's hard to get points on the road. At a minimum, we want to try to get 4 points out of these next 2 games. I know that's hard. We're going to shoot for 6, but at a minimum, we want to try to get 4. So Salt Lake has a good team. New York City right now is playing as well as anybody in the league. That one will be a little disrupted by international absences for both teams in some ways, but 1 game at a time. It starts with getting a result at Salt Lake and getting above that 500 level, and showing that we can do it at home. We can now do it on the road, and we are a team that's on the rise and improving.
Is that term fair to use in a sport where you have draws, saying if you're 500 or not, or does it really depend on the context?
Yeah, it is a weird one, because you look at when they throw up win percentages of coaches all over the soccer world, it's a strange one because it subtracts the ties from it. You know, in NFL you'll be like a good NFL coach wins 70% of his games. You see in college 80-90%. A lot of these guys. And you go, wow, they just don't lose. But soccer's different. Even, you know, Alex Ferguson, obviously his is high, but it's also like in the 60s is a great one, or is an unbelievable one in soccer because of the tie factor. So, yeah, the context of a soccer manager's record is a unique one with the element of the tie. So, yeah, that does add a variable to that whole thing.
Go ahead, Jacob.
So Harris has been really well both on set pieces, shooting and passing. What does it have for the Union to have that kind of specialist for set pieces?
Yeah, it's important. It's a facet of the game that gets neglected a lot, and a third of goals now are coming from restart situations, whether it's corner kicks, free kicks, penalty kicks. You know, obviously are a big one as well. But he has an ability to serve a ball, to get an assist that way. The shooting that he possesses, you saw it the other night, to win a game for you. Those are huge variables, and other teams have to be cautious about not fouling in and around the box, which leads to us, you know, being more dangerous around the box because they are hesitant and they're tiptoeing. So maybe you can take advantage of them in the run of play because of that. They're a little cautious in some ways. But Harris has been excellent for us. You know, there's a couple statistics now that we have 3 guys in the top of the league, and he's one of them, and it's you know, expected goals for CJ is in the top 5. We have Pontius in the top 5 in assists, and now you see Harris, and it's called usage percentage. It's a unique stat, and it might be confusing for people, but it shows what our team is trying to do, and what we've been trying to do from week 1 is put our best players on the ball, and Harris is on the ball now, up around almost 14% of our touches are distributed by him. So if you want him to be the quarterback, the point guard, whatever your terminology is for it, we're actually executing that, and he's in the top 5. I think he's 3rd in the league in that. So yeah, we want him on the ball as much as possible. That includes restarts where he is proven to be lethal.
Any update on Fabian? Where he's at?
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, not a good night for him in terms of was hoping to make a big impact, and he gets the injury. It'll look like best case 2 weeks, worst case 4. So you lose a little depth in the squad, but we have you know, Marcus Epps is more than capable of stepping in, and he's been playing great in Bethlehem. He's been playing great in training. So yeah, you lose a good player in Fabian, but it's next man up mentality. You talk about the depth of your roster, and your depth is challenged in weeks like last week, and with injuries, with national team call-ups and different things. And I think we have a strong team, a team that is deep, and we're not afraid to use guys and give guys debuts. You know, we've had, I believe, three guys make their professional debut, and 8 players now make their MLS debut for a team, and that's a lot in 1 year. It's not going to go perfect right away from the start, but you're starting to see some of the characteristics and quality come out of each and every guy. So you lose Fabian, which is a tough blow, but I believe in Marcus, and I think he can step in and do a job. Yeah.
Any more questions?
Abductor, groin.
Jim, question about Ray and his career path.
Yeah.
When he came into the league under previous coaching staffs, he was playing on the left side.
Right.
Comes over to the right, he wins the starting job from Shane in 2015. Shane is traded. And then Keegan comes in, feel good story.
Yeah.
Ray sits on the bench. And now he's back on the field. He's only 27 years
Yeah.
old. It's not that old. I mean, when we look at it, fans and media, do we undervalue kind of his path and how he's had to get to where he is now?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Ray has when you talk about being a true professional, and again, what that really entails, always bringing a positive attitude each and every day, always bringing the same intensity in training, whether you're a starter, whether you're a reserve, always helping the person that even plays the same position as you. He did a lot of that last year with Keegan. So a true pro, a guy that now I can always count on and is always ready, will win his one-on-one battle, is more of a defense-first guy, no question about it, and has done a great job for us stepping in at a time where we needed to solidify some things at the back. So, if your question is, do people undervalue the importance of players like that? MLS, true pros, guys that are so valuable to teams. You can go through each roster, and they're actually easy to pick off of the roster because you can tell the guys that are consistent and can give you the 34 games and you wouldn't worry about them. And he's one of those guys. He's a guy with a great mentality, great attitude, a winner, and a guy who, in tough times like last year where he wasn't getting minutes, could have bailed and asked for a trade or this or that, been disruptive. But that's not what he's about. That's not what his family is about. His parents are amazing people, and he's a product of that. He's an amazing person, an amazing player, and he's doing really well right now for us.
When you talk about him being a defense-first kind of guy, did you see that when he came out of college, or was that also a little bit of a product of him playing on his weak foot for those first?
So again, the career trajectory of every pro is different. Things happen at different times for a reason, and I think the fact that he got to play on the left is still a good thing for him, because now when teams do look and say, there's a kid Toya in Montreal who can play right or left. I've seen Ayongo even used on the right hand side and has done it. So that's powerful. It makes you a little more versatile. It also is trickier to when you pick your 18 now. Ray would always be in it because you're not going to take. I shouldn't say not, but it's rare to take two left-footed outside backs, because you want one that can definitely do the one thing, but is also at least familiar with the other side. And for what it's worth, Giuliano and Bobby have never really been on the right side. So again, you do with showing versatility, being able to play a couple different spots. You grow your value grows not just throughout the Philadelphia Union, but throughout the league as well, because coaches see that, the importance of being able to play multiple spots. And early in his career, well, it wasn't by choice, and it probably wasn't the best thing that he maybe wanted at the time, but it helps him learn, and I think it helps him become an even better defender. You see the different angles. How do you get a pass into a little window with your maybe pulling it from your weak foot to your strong foot, and all those little variables that come up. Long term, I think it helps him, and he's been, again, like I said, a true professional, and has really done a good job for us this year.
Any more questions for Jim on the floor? Any questions for Jim on the phone?
Hey, Jim, this is Eugene with Brotherly Games.
Hi.
I wanted to ask about Giuliano and all the made his debut in Colorado. What did you think? And do you think we're going to see him again on Saturday?
Giuliano had a great game for us. It was a time where I thought we had an opportunity, to see Giuliano because he deserved the opportunity to play, to start, because he's been good in training. But you also had a window where Fabinho, who's on the other side, he's 30 years old now, on the Wednesday, Saturday, and the amount of ground that he covered when we got the data back, and the possibility that we looked at the last 15 minutes of Houston and there was some fatigue on that side maybe of the field. We made the decision not only to just have Fabi not start, but also to just have mentally a period where he could not have the stress of still, even as a reserve, preparing for what it's like to get ready for 90 minutes. So he had the opportunity to sit back, relax with his family, watch the game from a different perspective, recover. Fabi is still, going to be the starter this week if he's healthy by then. He is healthy now. I'm just saying, if the starting lineup, push for minutes, and is a guy that we won't blink or be nervous to put out there the next time that opportunity comes around.
Any more questions for Jim on the phone?
Picture them down to the soccer page.
Yeah.
I'm curious about Albert Lusnak on RSL, because it seems like a lot of the good they've done this year is when they've been able to get him involved and have the pitch. I'm kind of wondering if you looked at him much, and if so, what you see from him that could give you guys problems and how you're preparing for it.
Yeah, great player for sure. It's always new when you come to this league from Europe. There is an adjustment period, but you can see his quality. again, they've had a rough start to the season early on. They had a coaching change. Now some different teammates that are coming in, but he would be, the key guy. If you talk about treating him like we have in recent weeks with Sasha, with Acosta, Alex, similar in that regard. His ability to make a final pass is very good. I have to say that their front six is still very dangerous. If you look at Plata, who can make a play, Mosisian, new DP Severino, who's almost in the Acosta mold, low to the ground, dangerous. Rusnak at the 10, and then you have obviously Beckerman holding it down, and Luke Mulholland, who can score a goal from midfield. So really dangerous group. We don't want to try to be the team that gives them any confidence, but it starts with trying to, percentage-wise, trying to make his touches in areas of the field where it's difficult for him to hurt us. So we'll try to make him, again, play square and backwards. That will be us doing a good job. You won't be able to do it for 90 minutes, but you try to limit the other team's best players, and Rusnak is clearly that. As you watch the tape and you watch games from this year, he's been able to create a lot of chances for them. He's scored some good goals. So, yeah, difficult task for us, but I'd say it starts with him as the kind of the heart that you want to try to take away from them.
Great, thanks.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.